Simon and Danny are alongside me. No better time to get an update in the transfer market with the clock ticking. It is the month of January after all. talkSPORT's chief football correspondent Alex Crook joins us live. Alex, good morning. Let's start with United. Let's start with Solskjaer. Is he going back on an interim basis?
Good morning. Let's say it was fascinating listening to Simon and Danny's opinions on this. I think that very much is the direction of travel. There are face-to-face talks planned with both Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Michael Carrick, two United legends, two former United managers, although, of course, in Carrick's case, it was only a flinting stint as interim after Solskjaer left the club. And I think it will be one of those. I think it probably will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with potentially Michael Carrick coming in on his backroom staff. And I take on board Simon's point, really. When Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe came in, they promised a brave new dawn. They promised to, in his words, get Manchester United back to where they belong. This does seem in some ways a step back in time.
Okay. So, but United fans we speak to this morning, though, Alex, seem to be suggesting, yeah, it seems logical to them.
And I think that's part of the master plan from Ineos, because one of the things they clearly are affected by is criticism from ex-United players in the media, the likes of Simon's pal Gary Neville, who, of course, Ruben Amorim name-checked in that explosive press conference at Leeds at the weekend. And I think they feel that by installing club legends, they'll get the fans off their back until the end of the season, and probably the pundits as well.
I think that was in, I think he was in the minority, though, mate.
The likes of Gary Neville and Roy Keane didn't want to criticise him, did they?
I think that fan was in the minority. I think majority United fans will see it as a backward step.
As a backward step. Okay.
I really do.
Solskjaer in the frame, so too Michael Carrick. We'll keep an eye on it. What's going on with Marc Guéhi at Palace?
Well, I think this one is wide open, Jim. I don't think it's guaranteed that Marc Guéhi leaves Palace this month. I know if Simon was in Steve Parish's position still, then he would cash in because, of course, Guéhi is a free agent at the end of the season. There is interest from Manchester City, no question about that, given that they've lost Ruben Diaz and they've probably lost Josko Guardiola for the rest of the season. But I just get the impression that Guéhi is in no rush to decide his future. He's quite happy to take his chance at the end of the season, captain Palace, hopefully from his perspective and for theirs, to a European trophy, and then see what opportunities come in the summer. I think at the moment, Liverpool, who obviously were very close to signing him on deadline day in the last window, I don't see a scenario where they come back this month.
Would you be frustrated, Danny, if Liverpool seemingly, as they're looking to do, let Guéhi slip through their fingers and he ends up at City?
Yeah, I think it would be a difficult one to take when they've got a good relationship with him and his representatives, because they agreed the deal, didn't they? And it was Palace that pulled it. And he's such a talented player who's comfortable with the Premier League and so established, and he's calm and he's quick and he's just got everything you want. He ticks all the boxes. But it wouldn't be the end of the world because there's loads of good players out there. You have to go and find another one.
Spurs are after one, Alex, specifically a left back. Am I right?
Yeah, this is the teenage Brazilian Souza at Santos. They've had one bid, we understand, rejected of around £8 million. I think Santos are looking for nearer £15 million. Our information at talkSPORT is that Tottenham will ready a second offer. Not convinced this is the type of signing that necessarily will placate the Tottenham fans. I think they'd like to see more senior, more proven players come in. Interesting scenario with João Paulinho as well, obviously on loan from Bayern Munich. It looked a few weeks ago that it was a foregone conclusion that Tottenham would trigger the buy option in his deal of £26 million, but he's lost his place in the team recently, and I just sense there's a bit of trepidation now for Tottenham about making that move permanent, so maybe other Premier League clubs could nip in.
It's going to be a very interesting situation regarding Tottenham. If we'll see similar Tottenham-style behaviour in the window now that the Lewis family are taking part in the activities a bit more, if you like, more front and centre. I'll throw that at you, Mr. Jordan, who seems to be staring at me in a quizzical way.
Well, they're the ones that told everybody. I mean, they did spend big in the summer. They spent 200 million in the summer. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that told everybody it's a new dawn. They're the ones that told everybody that they want to see more trophies. They're the ones that said they wanted a freer activity in the transfer market. Away you go then. Here's your manager. You know, you've taken out Daniel Levy and you want to criticise or have a go at him and perhaps try and talk his shareholding down so you can do a different deal with him on his Enex shares. You know, the sporting director's gone. So I feel a bit sorry for Thomas Frank because he's in a framework where I'm not sure he's loved by the current ownership because they weren't the ones that employed him.
Right. Okay. Thomas, beware. Aston Villa, let's finish with them. They're going to do some business, Alex, and soon.
Again, I think they're one of the clubs who need to. You know, you go back to this time a year ago, they were challenging for a Champions League place. They were really active in the window. Obviously, didn't quite get over the line in terms of Champions League qualification. Lost in controversial circumstances, according to Gabriel Bondahor at Manchester United on the last day. Willa Sula is a name I'm being told to keep an eye on when it comes to Aston Villa, young striker at Newcastle, but very much down the pecking order there. And I think they could do with a bit of competition for Ollie Watkins. They're a bit too reliant on him leading the line, I think, at the moment, Villa.
You agree with that, Dan?
Yeah, I think now's the time to strengthen for Villa. They're in a wonderful position. I remember last year when they could do it with they brought in Rashford and Asensio, didn't they? Gave them a hell of a boost. I know they were both loans, but they could go down that more. I don't know the PSR situation, but yeah, Villa's first 11, 13, 14 players is really good. If they can get a couple in real class, top quality players, gives them a hell of a chance.
They've got the manager everybody wants.
Yeah.
Certainly, in terms of his performance in recent terms, he's exhibited all the characteristics of a manager that's capable of running a football club and producing an outcome on the field.